Hey, did you guys know that Baja Blast is back? And it's on store shelves year-round now. Well, at least for this year. It's their 20th anniversary. Well, at least for this year. It's their 20th anniversary, so I guess Mountain Dew decided to bring it back all year. I personally have 3 12-packs in my garage fridge right now. What is wrong with me? Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of Kipper the Dog Home Media Reviews. This review is on Pigs Present and Other Stories. I hope that you guys enjoyed last week's pilot episode for this show. At the time of recording this, the pilot hasn't come out yet, so I don't know what the response is, so I hope it's good. Let's not waste any time, let's jump right into the history section of Pigs Present and Other Stories. So Pigs Present hit store shelves the exact same year as The Visitor and Other Stories. It hit store shelves in America in 1999. Unlike with The Visitor, I didn't have Pigs Present when I was a kid. This is one of the releases that I didn't know existed for Kipper when I was a kid. I've only had this VHS for about a year now, so it's relatively new to my collection. There is an episode on here, though, that I had seen when I was younger. It was on another Kipper release. I won't talk about that just yet, though. That'll be for later. As far as any other copies of this, there is a photo of the double feature tape over on the Kipper wiki, which I don't remember if I mentioned this last week or not, but this is where I'm getting all my information. So I assume that Pigs Present and The Visitor were part of some double feature sampler tape. I don't know when that would have come out, maybe 1999, maybe the year prior in 98. I'm not too sure. There's no date on the wiki for that. Just this picture here. And there are no copies of it on eBay. Believe me, I have looked. A relatively short history section, but that just means that we can get to the close-up quicker. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that? Alright everyone, here's your close-up look at Pigs Present and Other Stories. I mentioned last week that the Visitor and Other Stories was the only tape of Kipper I didn't own as a kid. I didn't have this as a kid, mostly because I didn't know this existed. My grandparents never had it. I had never heard of it, so there were episodes of Kipper that were out there that I didn't know existed that were on this VHS. As a kid, I thought I saw the whole show, thought I had everything, but I didn't. Very unfortunate for me. Hallmark Home Entertainment up there at the top. Kipper. Again, not Kipper the dog, just Kipper. Got Pigs Present and Other Stories. There's a nice rainbow pattern going on behind Kipper. And the little hamster guy there and some frogs. I like this poster. It's not great or anything, but it does capture the wholesome essence of this show. Portrait of Kipper taken from the front, and also the hamster from the front also makes an appearance here. Pigs Present and Other Stories. Closed caption, Hallmark. No FHE logo here, but we do have a product number. The back features your UPC code. There's Kipper, Tiger, Pig, and Arnold there on the back on a bike of some sort. There's Kipper looking at a window at a butterfly. Your blurb about the release. Just like last week, you don't get a list of stories, but they are here in the blurb about the release. They're not bold, they're italicized this time. Pigs Present, Rainbow Puddle, the butterfly, and the bleepers. There's your FHE logo down there at the bottom. Copyright 1999, color, running time, all that good stuff. Classic hit logo as well. This I bought off of eBay, very used. This used to be white. It's very yellowed now, as you can see all around it, but the tape works fine. And here's your sticker label. So just like last week, let's take a look at some footage for Pigs Present and Other Stories.
Dear Kipper, please come to my birthday party. Here is my present list. 1. A pet, like a rabbit or a guinea pig or something. 2. A little mouse or a gerbil or something. 3. Anything else. But mostly I would like number 1 or number 2. See you tomorrow. Love from Pig.
Tiger, don't you think that was some good VHS footage? Oh yes, Kipper, it's very good. Unfortunately, I did knock my thumb while we were watching it. That episode's not on this release, but it's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But that wraps up your close-up. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions, as always. All right, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions, as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? Definitely only somewhere like eBay. I have never seen this VHS out in the wild, at least in my area. It's never shown up anywhere for me, so eBay. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? No, definitely not. Number 3, should you pick this product up? This is the first time that I've ever seen this VHS tape in full. I've actually never watched it prior to this recording, so this was a fun experience for me. The start of this release, though, is kind of eerie. There isn't any music or sound effects for the opening logos, and the first trailer blows out your soundbar with this loud alarm clock noise. It was kind of odd. Like, just seeing those opening logos on screen just with no music or nothing, it kind of creeped me out. The first trailers for some cheap animated movies produced by Crayola, yeah, the crayon company. They even advertise that in each of these VHS tapes that these movies are on, come with a pack of Crayola crayons. And this first trailer is way too long, by the way. But hey, a trailer on here that's actually relevant to this show, The Visitor and Other Stories has a trailer on here. That VHS was only $9.98 when it first launched. That is an incredibly obscure fact that I think everyone on this show needed to know. That's crazy. VHS tapes were $10 back in the day. That's wow. If they were on store shelves now, $30 at the minimum. That's inflation for you. After 7 minutes of trailers, no, I'm not exaggerating, I counted, we finally start the release with Pig's Present. It'd be weird if Pig didn't make an appearance in an episode called Pig's Present, but he does. It's his first appearance over here in the United States of America. And he's incredibly memorable. Not only because he's got the thickest British accent, aside from Jake, who also appears here but doesn't speak, but because of his naive nature. His letter was hilarious. But mostly I would like number 1 or number 2. Made me think of those kids, like when you were younger. You always had that one friend who would make a list for his birthday party, like, I want this, 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 and this for my birthday. It just made me think of the kids who grew up to expect nothing but government handouts, and I'm sticking to that theory. I don't remember what this animal was. I put chipmunk in my notes here that Kipper gets Pig for his present, but I'm kind of thinking it's like a gerbil or something. I can't remember what it was called, but it is adorable, and it's a very cute bond that Kipper and this little guy form. That obstacle course that Kipper builds for Rolly was really, really sick, and Rolly's got some moves. By the way, I had a book called Kipper and Rolly when I was younger. Can't remember where that book is. I might still have it, but it was an original Kipper hardback book that I got from a half-price book, so I think my aunt and uncle got me when I was younger, and I think this episode is based on it. I'll have to confirm that, but I think that's true. But that was pretty sweet of Pig to let Kipper keep Rolly afterward. I mean, sure, Pig had a whole bunch of other animals, and I'm sure he didn't want another one to take care of, but it was pretty sweet that he let Kipper keep Rolly for a while. This episode did exactly what it set out to do. It gave us a memorable introduction to Pig, and gave us a one-off character in Rolly, who I don't think we ever see again. The Rainbow Puddle. This is the episode that I remembered when I was a kid, alright? This episode is on water play, I'm pretty sure. I always thought water play was kind of a weird release. That one didn't really make it into my Kipper rotations. And the rainbow puddle was a big reason for that. This episode's bonkers. A frog appears from a puddle and talks with a deep voice. No, I am not making that up. You'll find me, but you'll never catch me. The frog is also a genie who grants wishes, and I'll admit it's entertaining to watch Kipper try to catch him. His voice was funny. There's also a philosophical discussion on what is and isn't magic, and an elephant appears. This show can get really wild sometimes. But hey, for that reason alone, the rainbow puddle is really memorable. I really enjoyed it. The butterfly. I would not lick that popsicle, or lolly, as Pig calls it, after the butterfly landed on it. Nothing personal, I'm just not sure it kept itself very clean. This is the one that got really weird, okay? The characters that appear here are Kipper and Pig, anthropomorphized animals, right? There's a human baby that appears in this episode. What? Like, not a kid of, like, Kipper species, a beagle, or a tiger, a schnauzer, or pig, or Pig's nephew, or whatever Arnold is. Spoiler alert, there's another pig character named Arnold who gets introduced later on in the show. It's a human kid. And I don't think we see any humans throughout the rest of the show. I think this may be the only time that we see a human anything show up in the Kipper universe. Why did the creators choose to have a human baby appear in this world of sentient animals? I have no idea. Simplicity is a great word to describe this episode after the insanity of the rainbow puddle. Aside from the human baby, it's a very simplistic plot. Kipper and Pig are just chasing a butterfly around the park. And finally, our last story, the Bleepers. More new characters, and the Bleepers, unlike Rolly, actually appear after this. Aliens from outer space that Kipper names the Bleepers. And I always found them to be very entertaining whenever they'd appear. Something about their language is just inherently funny to me. I don't know what it is. Isn't it weird, though, that giant hole on their face, that's like their nose, they have a mouth underneath there? I always thought that was their mouth. But no, this episode tells us that they have mouths. It's so funny to think, though, that a toy truck flipped over that giant ship, but this universe has talking frogs that live in puddles and human babies, so I'm not going to call bullshit on that. You know what? I'm going to let that slide. That slide that the Bleepers use to exit their ship is pretty fun. And I like Kipper's relationship with the Bleepers. He's genuinely curious and wants to find out more about their species. I'd say this episode is pretty simplistic, like the last one, but there's literal aliens in it, so it's a fun meshing of the crazy and the mundane. Overall, this is a solid follow-up from last week's release. All the stories here were fun and unique. I still can't stand the intro and outro for every single episode. Luckily, though, we only have one more release where that sticks around. I'm so happy about that. I won't hold that or the human baby appearance against this release. I definitely recommend that you pick up Pig's Present. It's actually a bit cheaper than the Visitor over on the secondary market, so there's no excuse on why you shouldn't pick it up. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? Well, I can't remember the price I gave for the Visitor last week, but I think for the most part, the Visitor is still worth about $10. Its original MSRP price point. So Pig's Present's a bit cheaper, though. I'd say about $6 to $7 for that, actually. I think I might have paid $8 for mine, including shipping. So I'd say that's a fair price for it. 10 on the high end. All right, well that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up episode 2 of Kipper the Dog Home Media Reviews. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I'm really enjoying Kipper this time around. I mean, I liked it enough when I was a kid, but I guess it just never registered in my brain how bug nuts this show can be sometimes. It was really creative, and not enough people have seen it. So I hope that this show convinces you guys to go out and watch Kipper at some point in time. Trust me, you will not regret it. There's a human baby in the realm of sentient animals and a frog that lives in a puddle
who talks like this.
Holy shoot, I just realized. The frog talks like George Takei.
If that's not a reason to pick up Pig's present, I don't know what is. Oh my.
Next week, we are rolling wheels and shifting gears round that Jersey Turnpike over to Snowy Days and Other Stories. That was a terrible transition, me. Absolutely awful. But we're going to keep it in because it's funny. Snowy Days was the second release that I didn't have as a kid, and I have an interesting story behind it. So, if you want to hear that story, though, you'll have to tune in next week for episode 3 of Kipper the Dog Home Media Reviews. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Good night, everybody. God, what was that transition, man? That was just... He tried to pull off the whole Alan Jackson thing. I was rolling wheels and shifting gears round that Jersey Turnpike when Barney stopped me with his gun 10 minutes after midnight. Hey, you gotta give me credit. I tried at least.